Nothing but blue skies smiling at me, boy. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Hey, bluebird!
Hello, today I wanted to come to you and talk a little bit about pin curling, since I've done a lot of styles that use pin curls in my videos, but I haven't really talked about actually how I pin curl. So first off, I always pin curl with wet hair. My hair is very fine and very straight, and it doesn't take to curling really well, so I usually start with just towel dried hair when I get out of the shower. I use two products in my hair when I'm setting my pin curls. This is Herbal Essences Totally Twisted Curl Scrunching Gel, and I don't use a lot, maybe that much. And I just really work it through the ends and my bangs. Just the areas where in the finished style I'm going to want curl, because it can get kind of crunchy if you load up a lot on the top, and that's just going to be flat. And then if I really want a good hold, or it's going to be windy or hot, I also use a Garnier Fructis Style Survivor Tough It Out glue with cactus extract. And I use about the same, or even a little bit less. And this is kind of a paste, and it's definitely a lot stronger of a hold. And this I'm also just going to focus on the ends of my hair where I want it to be curled in the finished style, and my bangs. This one is really pretty sticky, but it really helps just to give it that extra bit of hold that will help your style last the whole day or through a lot of wind and humidity, which where I live it's very windy and very humid in the summer, so I need that. And then at this point I usually wash my hands because the cactus stuff is pretty sticky. Next thing you want to do is part your hair. Parting your hair is really important because that's how your hair is going to dry, and that's the part that it's going to have when you're done. So it's important to make it nice and even and to get it where you want it. I usually do a side part. Just to get it nice and straight. Okay, when I do pin curl styles, I usually start with the top layer and work my way down. That's just the way I've always done it. But if I want to keep a lot of this on the top flat, so I want this finished curl maybe to be here rather than all the way up here, I would start from the bottom and just pin it up and start curling the bottom layer and let the next layer go down. But my hair brushes out pretty easily, so usually it doesn't matter too much whether I want curl or not up here if a curl stays up there. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a section of hair like this. I don't do any particular shape or anything. I've read that it's supposed to be better if you do either like a square or a triangle shape, but that just takes too much time, and I'm not that precise with my pin curls anyways. And then usually I find on my hair and I grab it before the layers start. Oops, my bang over there. And then I just kind of wrap it around my finger and then roll up. And just trying to keep the little ends tucked in. You don't want the little ends flying out because then it'll be flat on the ends and it'll be kind of weird looking. And then you just pin with a bobby pin, like so. So pin curls you can do two different directions. You can do this one, which kind of curls forward towards my head, or you could curl backwards. this one, you can see that curls backwards away from my head, and that one curls forward towards my face. So usually when I am curling all over, just to get a good curl, I curl forward for the bulk of my head on the sides. But it really depends on what style you're doing. If you want waves this way, you would do alternating rows, one way curling forward, and then the next row curling back. And the same kind of thing if you wanted up and down waves, you'd have a row this way going forward and a row that way backwards, all the way back in your head. So, and then another tricky thing to do with pin curls is, what do you do with your bangs? Now my bangs have grown out long enough so I can do them in a pin curl. So I always like to section out my bang area before I start, because otherwise I always miss some, and then you'll have a strand of hair in your bangs that's curled differently from the rest of your bangs, and it's more difficult to make it work. So you can curl your bangs in a pin curl if your hair is long enough. And usually I pin curl them all in this sort of counterclockwise direction, towards away from my part when I'm doing my bangs. If you have thicker hair and you have a really deep bang, you can actually do 2 rows, but because my hair is really thin, I usually don't need to do 2 rows. You can usually just do 1. And another thing you can do if you have bangs is use a sponge roller on your bang, one of the little ones. This is really good if you have the really short Betty bangs, because A, it will actually stay on the curler and curl, and this gives a really strong curl that'll help you work it into your style. Much tighter of a curl than the pin curl will do. So you just roll it like that. In the back of my hair, I usually do alternating rows. And something else I wanted to talk about real quick is what to do with those little pesky hairs on your neck. So my hair, again, it's growing out, so now I can actually pin curl it, but I find that that falls out. So usually I have at least one of my pin curls on this kind of back neck area that falls out in the middle of the night, and then it's not curled, and then I have to deal with it, and usually just have to kind of pin that hair up underneath the style and hope it stays up there hidden. So I found that if you use the next size up from the little blue rollers, so those are the smallest and these are the next size, the ones I have are yellow, that works really well to get a good size curl, and the sponge rollers stay in a lot better. So when I roll with a sponge roller, again, I grab above where the layers start in the section of hair, and I wrap it around the sponge roller, not too tight, and then I just kind of roll it up and making sure that the hair that is rolling around the roller covers the ends, so that the ends will stay in the curl and get curled, and they won't be poking out funky and end up being straight or at an awkward angle. There we go. And then if you ever get done and you find you have a weird sort of a strand left over that didn't get into a pin curl, because that happens, this one is probably big enough that it could do its own little pin curl. Or if you had a smaller strand like this, it's really easy. You just take out the nearest pin curl, make sure you get that extra strand back into the curl, and just whip it up into a curl. And so after I've made sure I have all my little strands up in my pin curl set, the very last thing I do is to feel my pin curls and see if any of them feel really loose or really big compared to the other ones. The big ones sometimes I'll take out and split it into two because I want my curls to be more even. And if they're loose, I'll just take another bobby pin and pin it in at a 90-degree angle. So they're forming a little X shape, and that's just going to give it a little bit extra hold, especially if I'm going to be sleeping in the set. That just helps prevent stuff from falling out.
Hey, bluebirds, singing a song, nothing but bluebirds, bluebirds.